Hello, this is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh, the one, the only, the original, the real, the official, the guy from Pittsburgh, except no substitutes or imposters, and this is Donald Trump talk. I have been watching all of the hearings and all of the talk and all of the mendacious and duplicitous talk of the Democrats and the ultra-leftists and the mob as they character assassinated a man nominated for the Supreme Court. But this is not a new tactic by the left. In 1948, there was testimony before the House Un-American Activities Committee, and that man testified to the infiltration of communists in the State Department. But there was more than that. Records later showed that the Treasury Department had been infiltrated. And in the 80s or 90s, a spy, an American, and his wife were indicted, and he was sent to prison for life for sending our secrets to the communist government of Cuba. The man in 1948 was attacked viciously, and the left in this country has maintained the fiction of McCarthyism, that there were no communists. It was all a witch hunt. Whittaker Chambers was right, and I believe they called him a homosexual, said he was cheating on his wife, and subsequent FBI checks and congressmen who went and checked Russian records found it was all true. And in my case, some of these leftists have attacked me. They've slandered me. They've libeled me, just like Judge Kavanaugh. No substantiation, just slander and lies to destroy someone's career or to destroy their life. This is what Democrats do. This is what the left does. And this is what the haters online do. They say you are a liar, a con man, a tax cheat, an unemployment cheat, a Social Security cheat. None of this is true. They've even accused me of being a child molester, which is not true. Anybody knows me, I'm not that. I despise child molesters. But going back to Judge Kavanaugh, these people do not only attack the judge, they attack his wife, his children, and then they go after the entire Donald Trump family, including his 12-year-old child, who has nothing to do with any of this. This is the way of the Democratic Party of the 2000s. They are not the Democratic Party of Hubert Humphrey. They are not the Democratic Party of others, of John F. Kennedy, of Robert Kennedy, of even Teddy Kennedy. They're not Democrats anymore. They're socialist, ultra-leftists, and avowed communists who have said they will turn this country into another Venezuela or another Cuba. They hate the Constitution. They hate respect for the flag. They hate respect for values. They hate our army. They hate our military. They hate ICE. They hate the Constitution. They hate the national anthem. They call people who have nothing to do with it people who are white privileged. They bring up racism, misogynism, xenophobia, homophobia, anything they can, because they cannot make an argument without personal attacks or impugning one's character. And then Susan Collins, a brave senator from Maine, who stood up and reiterated all that had gone on before the hearings and during the hearings and all the evidence and lack of evidence. And they attacked her for being a traitor to feminism and a traitor to women. And they will hound her for the rest of her life. Well, I say applause to Susan Collins and applause the one Democrat who stood up against the mob, Joe Manchin, as we saw the mob pound on the doors of the Supreme Court when Judge Kavanaugh was sworn in on Saturday. This is the tactics of the mob. But it will not stop unless you vote in 28 days. Unless you vote to keep these people out of office, not only in 2018, but forever. Because they will turn this country into another Venezuela. They will turn this country into a hellhole. They've already said they will investigate Gorsuch. They will investigate Trump, and it will never stop. Because deep down, these people cannot accept the fact they lost in 2016. They could not accept the fact that Al Gore lost. And they could not accept the fact that the American people voted to repudiate the policies and failures of Barack Obama. And in their rage, that's all they have is rage, lies, slander, duplicitousness, and mendacity. And that's very sad. This is not the Democratic Party I grew up with, where they engaged in debate on the issues. There is no debate on the issues of these people. It's just hatred, personal attacks, vilification, stopping people from eating in restaurants, hounding them at their home and in their offices and in elevators with people who coached each other how to talk and then had to admit on the air that they were employees of a George Soros-funded quote-unquote social justice organization. There is no such thing as social justice. It's another liberal and leftist buzzword. So when you go to the polls November 6th, think about it. Do you want the mob rule? Do you want anarchy? Or do you want true justice in this country? Whether you agree with the decisions of Judge Kavanaugh, and by the way, most of his decisions have allied with a liberal member of the Circuit Court in D.C., not the Ninth Circuit, I'm sorry. I don't know the number of that court. But he has aligned with that judge in many decisions and is not this lockstep conservative that the left claims him to be. But we cannot have the mob rule. We cannot have the mob decide the future of this country. The mob in France killed their leaders. They guillotined them. And the reign of terror went on for 2 years. And we cannot have a reign of terror where the mob, the crazies, those with the disregard for law, the judicial process, the legislative process are led by mendacious and lying politicians. And they take over our country and our government. And I'll do everything I can to try to stop it. This is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. Have a good night. Stay warm, wet, dry, or cool as the case may be. Stay safe and vote on November 6th to throw these liars and slanderers out of office for good. Bye-bye for now.